Background courtesy of Photographs of a Mad Richard. Link in the description.
Oh. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of It's Time to Change the Bandage. Those of you that don't know, I've been injured. I was in the hospital and they had to bandage me up, and I have to change this bandage regularly. And one of the things that happens with these bandages, of course, is that they stick. And this can be very painful. So you want to wet them a little bit with the solution they give you to soak. Oh, does that look disgusting? Okay. So that's got to soak for 10 minutes. There we go. Need another wound dressing. A bandage. And the tape. Okay. So, yeah, the soaking part is the long, boring thing that you got to do. And as everything else gets done with one hand, you want to start this first. You know, that's just one of those things here, is that it does hurt a little bit. There is a piece of plastic through my thumb that is supposed to help the expression process. And to express essentially means that the infection is bleeding out of the wound. That's what's happening. That's what expression means. Bleeding is good. A lack of pus is good. So actual blood is good. But if you were to say lance a pimple, you're expressing it. That's what that means. I'm going to assume that at a certain point I'm going to have to find something else to talk about. We could talk about, say, Trump's new plane that he may never get to ride in as president. Who knows? I mean, maybe they can get enough people working on it to get it retrofitted to be an Air Force One. But I mean, for the price tag of $1 billion, which is what it's going to cost to get that thing Air Force One ready, I would assume we could just build ourselves a new plane. Maybe not one quite as luxurious, but I mean, I don't know. You know, something else about planes is because they belong in the sky, they have what we call a cycle life. I mean, everything kind of has a cycle life, but planes, their cycle life is like they can only fly so much before the wings buckle and they're no longer safe to fly. And whereas you can have vintage aircraft that are repaired, you don't want to put important things like your president in them. Yeah. Oh, this water is becoming a rose color, I think. tell you, this stuff is really nasty. I am soaking this in a 0.9% sodium chloride irrigation solution. I think there are also something else in here that I'm supposed to be soaking it with, but the bundle they gave me is really a mess. And getting everything out of it, so I can even see what it is kind of hard for me. This medical gauze is not something that's still good if it winds up on the floor. Okay, it's not. Oh, we got about 6 minutes left to soak. Yeah. Another thing is that I was actually advised by legal department at my work that if any blood is showing through my bandage, I have to go home. So that's not fun. I mean, I hope they're going to put me under when they do the eventual surgery to put this thing back together or take out whatever's in there. I really do, because it looks like it's going to hurt like hell. And I will say this much, at the hospital they said, wow, you have an incredible pain tolerance. But an incredible pain tolerance only gets you so far. I am literally looking for things to do. While I am here. And here I have an old In-N-Out bag. This could be used for cleanup. I'm going to take this. Something you should understand about the medical field is that it tends to be pretty wasteful. And this is because, you don't know what bacteria you may have gotten on something, particularly at a hospital, okay? So, like, this bottle was something they used to irrigate my wound at the hospital, and they were going, you know what, we're just going to throw that out. So why don't you take it with you, and, in case you need it. And it's one of those things where, like the sterile gauze is open to the air, which makes it not so sterile gauze. It should stay in its bag. It should be in an individual bag. The stuff they use at the hospital was in an individual bag. But just as a point, the stuff they used at the hospital was in a bag. So the bag has to be closed when I leave here so that nothing can get on it, because that would compromise the sterility. And that's one of those things about sterility, is it's hard to maintain a sterile environment to prevent the bacteria from coming around. And I will also point out here that I should be changing this bandage 3 times a day, and I'm not, which is bad. And part of it is I simply just don't have the opportunity. My work is too dirty of an environment. I think it would insult the wound far too much. It would probably be better for it, but then I would also likely run out of supplies much faster. And yeah, I have to sit down here and I have to go through everything in this concoction and see what's up and try to get everything out so that I know it's safe and whatever have you. And I mean, I know there's medical scissors in there. I haven't seen them yet. They're too deep in. I only have one fully functioning hand. And when you have a hand that's leaking bacteria, which is what's happening here, I can't really go messing through that, It's not going to happen. So That's the world I live in. And here I am, if I'm lucky, I'll make 14 cents off this video. Okay? If I'm not lucky, I won't even bother posting it because the first one won't have done very well. And it's also possible that YouTube could turn around and say, no, that's too gory. We're not going to monetize it. Which is a possibility, I can, however, tell you that the bruising on my hand is going down. And the swelling is mostly localized to the thumb at this point. Have about a minute left. My blood sugar is also way too high. I mean, it was 194 today. Any second now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. That is just nasty. Okay. So I'm hoping at least some of the goo on here is the yellow stuff from this dressing. Now remember, the difference between a dressing and a bandage is that a dressing is sterile and a bandage just covers the wound. Okay? So that's something that's very important to know. And what we're doing here is you'll notice I'm wrapping the hand. And the point of wrapping the hand is to get stability for the bandage, okay? You want enough gauze around the wound to prevent bacteria from breaching it. And to prevent anything from escaping, in my case. Normally something escaping wouldn't be as much of an issue, but in my particular situation, that's what's a legal concern. So there we are. Don't know if I would consider this a very good wrap job, but I'm an amateur. Alright, so you need a piece of tape here. Alrighty, so there we are. Bandage changed, trash is policed. At least in theory, I'm good for another day of gallivanting around at work. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'm Richard. Danger Ducky says it is now time for you to comment, like, and subscribe, and support this channel so we can do things like save the world by removing trash from the ocean, planting trees, and feeding orphans. Danger Ducky approves.